The Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
It's the Full Melt Show.
Well, because of changing federal and state regulations, the marijuana industry in California is booming.
ABC 7 News anchor Natasha Zuves found out why women are taking the lead and breaking through the glass ceiling.
Weed, pot, marijuana, no matter what you call it, the sale of legal cannabis is growing fast. Industry leaders expect sales to soar from $2.5 billion in 2014 to as much as $8 billion by 2018. And women are staking claim to many of those new businesses.
Women are natural healers. We're the people, typically in your home when you're sick, you go to mom.
Andrea Unsworth owns Stash Twist, a cannabis delivery service in the East Bay.
It is more than a full-time job. I'm typically working 14 to 15 hours a day. And so with having 3 children, there are trade-offs.
She's one of the many women leaving corporate jobs for careers in pot.
My background is actually in finance. I have an MBA and I used to work for Moody's.
California is just one of many states now with a robust pot economy, all in light green. 23 states, as well as the District of Columbia, that have legalized medical marijuana. Well, check out these dark green states here. We're talking Alaska, Colorado, Washington, Oregon. They've legalized recreational use. And in our state, there is a good chance that Californians will vote this November on whether we should do the same.
This is the calendar for
local entrepreneurs aren't waiting. They're ramping up for the possible boom in demand.
Women Grow is an organization that connects, educates, and empower women in the legal marijuana industry.
Jasmine Hupp is leading the way. We caught up with her at her Oakland office.
There are not many industries that are female-led. And in this setting up of a brand new multi-billion-dollar industry, we saw an opportunity to let women lead where they've never led before.
The group started in Colorado less than 2 years ago.
And now we operate 35 chapters in the U.S. and Canada.
Women Grow is the largest national network of cannabis professionals. It estimates roughly 40% of the executives in pot companies are women.
2015 was a crazy year for those of us in the cannabis industry.
At this Women Grow event last month in uptown Oakland, hundreds of women, and some men too, came to network and learn. The laws can be confusing. Many government agencies still view pot as a dangerous drug, but the Department of Justice has relaxed enforcement in states where medical marijuana is now legal. The move made it easier to set up cannabis businesses, but there's still a lot of legal obstacles. Everything from banking to patents and trademarks can be a battle.
Trademarks and copyrights you can also get as a cannabis business.
Women Grow helps businesses navigate the bureaucracy.
Do you have educational seminars or cooking seminars? These are all things that you can include in your application for your dispensary.
Many of these attendees left ready to start their own businesses.
I thought it was excellent. I think this is a great concept for women to get together. It's a predominantly male industry, and we need to change that.
I really feel like this was a really great way to show women that, hey, you can get involved and you can have a business in the cannabis industry.
Giving women the tools to smoke the competition. Natasha Zuves, ABC 7 News.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
This is the Full Melt.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
Oh, so happy. I'm a happy camper today. How are you doing? Welcome to the Full Melt Show. I'm Steve Green. Today on the program, Women Grow. Really? Because almost all the guys that I meet and I mean, when I say guys, I mean that, rhetorically. I'm not meaning literally guys. When I'm talking about all the guys in the room. I'm talking about, men and women, boys and girls. All the guys in the room. As a generalization term, not as a gender term. Talking about all my guys, well, you're talking about the whole team. The team might be comprised of men and women. But all the guys that I see growing weed are all guys, for the most part. So it's nice to see that women grow and that they're getting stuff together and organizing. That story from out of Los Angeles, largest market in the country, most densely populated market in the country. Out of LA says that Women Grow is the largest business organization for cannabis entrepreneurs. Wow. Is that a head turner? Because you would think that maybe, I don't know, some other organization would be the largest one. And I just, thinking about it from just an off-the-cuff standpoint, just from my little bubble point of view, I wouldn't think that women would make up such a large segment of the growing community in general. And I guess, technically you don't have to be a grower to be with Women Grow. Women Grow is kind of a broader term, isn't it? It's talking about women growing in terms of number of people in cannabis entrepreneur businesses that are female. Women Grow could refer to a female grower. I think it's designed to be an umbrella term talking about women in cannabis business in general. And these women are women that are A, highly educated, B, have children, so they're soccer moms, and C, are leaving their corporate America jobs because, corporate America wants to squeeze that penny, plus you're female, so we give you 82% of what they give the man or something? I don't know what it is. It's whatever it is, it's less. And it shouldn't be. Work should be based on performance. And women have skills men simply don't have. I'm not saying that the opposite also isn't true sometimes. I'm saying that diversity brings a broad spectrum of all of the facets of an industry together. If you think about the diversity in music, right? And you're talking about not only the types of music and the genres of music, because everybody likes their own music. And some people have a wide taste in music. They'll like country music. They'll like rock music. They'll like jazz music. They'll like big band music. I'm one of those people. Less so on the country music, though. I was poisoned by country music as a child, I think. But then also in culture, because music is a reflection of popular culture. It's a reflection of what people's tastes are, what people are into, what the style of the time is. It's this way with fashion. It's this way with music. And when you're looking at music and culture, what culture brings into music, what would hip-hop be without African-American culture sternly at the center of it? What would country music be without, rural South America? Talking about South, the American South. Let's talk about it that way. The Appalachians and such. I'm sorry, I have fun with my Southern American folk. Culture plays such a broad role in the shape of something that reflects popular culture, like music and style and fashion, trends, things that people are into in general. And this is big business. This is industry. So when you're talking about culture in cannabis, I think it's even more entwined with not only gender roles, male and female, in cannabis. I think they're broad. They're pretty much the same, aren't they? When you're talking about gender roles, there isn't a male or a female gardener. Although, I just have to say, most of the people that I know that are actually gardening, in my experience, have been men. I haven't met a lot of women growers. I haven't. So it's fascinating to me to see that Women Grow as an organization is the largest organization of cannabis entrepreneurs in the country, according to this report. Absolutely fascinated. And also celebratory. What a great statement to make in an era and its time in an election cycle where we've got a woman trying to, again, smashed through that glass ceiling. I mean, last time, 8 years ago, she claimed she made a lot of cracks, as many cracks as there were votes in the glass ceiling. Is she going to smash through it this time? Or is it still going to remain a stubborn ceiling and let Bernie Sanders rise to the top on the Democratic ticket? I think the Republicans are sunk no matter what happens. Honestly, for those of you people, and God bless you, for that are putting your faith in Donald Trump, that Trump is the answer to our questions, I'm just sorry that balloon is going to quickly deflate. Mark my words on it. One way or another, Donald Trump will not be president of these United States. In a few moments after the break, where are we at here on the break? Because I know it's coming up here pretty quickly. Yeah, it's only a couple minutes away. I'm going to bring on Jamie Goswick. Now, Jamie is part of Women Grow, and Jamie is affiliated from the Western Michigan area. And so I'd like to have Jamie come on and talk about women in cannabis growing and women in entrepreneurial positions inside the cannabis business. That is Jamie Goswick texting me now. Yeah, I want to go on the radio. She's chomping at the bit, folks, and so am I, because I'm absolutely enamored by this topic and what this means to the face of the cannabis industry. Remember, for so long, it was the women in the Just Say No prohibitionist culture that were part of the mantra of Just Say No, protect our kids, right? The soccer moms were always on the side of prohibition. Keep your stupid cannabis crap away from my kid. I don't want him walking past your pot leaf shop on the way to school or on the way to the bus stop or on the way home. You know what? You are the one with the issue. You are the one with the problem. It's not the cannabis shop. It's not society at large. It's not the falling apart of the fabric of America. It's none of those things. It's you. You have to get used to the idea that your kid can walk safely by the cannabis shop with the cannabis leaf, and you can at some point then have a discussion with your child. Maybe this will force the discussion with your child about what drugs are and what drugs are not. And I hope that you wouldn't poison the kid with, oh, be wary of that cannabis shop. There's the boogeyman hanging out. He's going to hook you on some drugs at that cannabis shop. Not unless you're willing to say that the druggist is outside of the CVS or the Rite Aid or your local pharmacist trying to push the drugs that they sell there on your kids either, because it makes the same amount of sense. Coming back with Soccer Mom. Is she a soccer mom? I don't know. We'll take that temperature when we come back with Jamie Goswick from Women Grow right here on the Full Melt Show. Don't go away. You're getting the Full Melt.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit PetPain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. PetPain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law at RudoyLaw.com. RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana and up-to-date news. That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
What's up with these things, Victor?
We decided to give ourselves stickers for each feature we release. We read about 10,000 suggestions a week to create features that, as traders, we'd want to use.
10,000 suggestions? Who reads all of those?
He does.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show. was that story that came out of Chicago today that you just heard at the beginning of the program about Women Grow. And really, the story that I was quoting from was a Chicago story, but it was about Los Angeles and the business that could be created by cannabis women. And the focus of that story was Women Grow, the organization called Women Grow. So with me on the program now, from she's the chairperson for the West Michigan chapter of Women Grow, Miss Jamie Goswick. Welcome to the program, Jamie.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us what Women Grow is and why it's important to the face of the cannabis industry.
Well, Women Grow is an organization. It started in Denver. It's a national organization, and there are, I think, somewhere around 40 to 45 chapters nationwide. Wow. In Michigan, there are 3. Actually, there have been 2. Well, the Ann Arbor chapter started last year. West Michigan chapter started in January, and the Detroit chapter is starting in April. So they started it in Denver, Colorado. It picked up really quickly and expanded nationwide. The importance of the group and the organization is the fact that the amount of women that make financial and medical decisions. So it's kind of important as far as cannabis is concerned. It's really important to market to women, essentially, because in a relationship, women are usually the one that makes that decision medically and financially.
Oh, I got a boo-boo, Daddy, I got a boo-boo. Go see your mom.
Yeah. Exactly. And how many wives are constantly trying to convince their husbands to just go to the doctor?
Well, it's a mother's nurturing of nature, I should say, that kind of draws you with an umbilical to children all throughout life. I don't know that umbilical ever really completely severs, does it, Jamie?
No, it really doesn't. You always want your mom. I still to this day want my mom sometimes.
Yeah, look, I'm like, oh, where's Mom at? I wish Mom was here to rub my forehead, make me feel better. And so you get this from the medical standpoint. You got a medical problem. You don't feel good. If you're sick, if you got an injury, go find Mom. She'll make it better.
Yes, exactly. And I think what America is realizing that cannabis is no longer just about getting high. That's not what it is. It's the medical benefits behind it and all the facts that are supporting that right now.
And so do you find that a lot of moms who used to be soccer moms that were pro-prohibition now coming around and seeing how cannabis isn't the boogeyman and also might provide some benefit, some opportunity to their family, given its relatively benign nature?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm having conversations about it with my mom, my aunt, my family. I'm helping teach people to have conversations about it to tough ones in their family. And it's people that you can't deny the facts that are coming out and turn your head to that. If you're seeing it, and people are interested, they want to learn more. And that's exactly why I created my company, Canna Closet, which we are an in-home education, demonstration, and product sales company. And so we go into people's homes a lot like the Mary Kay model. Go into people's homes and we teach them how they can use cannabis medically. And we don't carry the product, but we carry the education.
So you go in and you teach mothers and women in general about the benefits of certain products and their uses.
Correct.
Correct. And do you find that people are enlightened by this? Are they enriched further in their lives after these meetings with Cannabis Closet?
Well, absolutely, because we came to them in their comfort zone. It's for a lot of women, it's not comfortable walking into a dispensary. It's not comfortable walking into a head shop. And it's not comfortable going online to find the information because you can't ask questions.
Is this the same uncomfortability you have when a guy is asked to go into a druggist store and buy feminine products?
Yes, or even Canna Closet is a multi-level marketing company. Think about pure romance parties where it has to be done in a home selling sexual toys, it needs to be done in that comfort of a home, because it's a little uncomfortable to just go in the shop and start asking, you're at a counter with two other women next to you and asking, what do I use to get rid of this rash? I really don't want to use A&D ointment, or
you're absolutely right, because I guess I've never seen at one of these dispensaries that you're talking about, and at least any of that I have gone to, a privacy booth or a place where you can do consultation that is private and distinct from other people in the places where you have more than one person in the room, generally customers. There have been places where they'll only let one customer in at a time. So you do kind of have that one-on-one privacy. However, it's not the majority of the time, and it doesn't necessarily remove the entire uncomfortability factor, because you're still outside technically of your comfort zone.
That's correct.
I would imagine. Because I would still be uncomfortable even at the druggist store asking about this feminine hygiene product in a booth. I'd still be like, oh, I'm embarrassed to ask about this.
Yeah. And how often do you listen to your friends when they're talking about some cool product that came out? Oh, have you tried this new Axe body spray? Or, I'm just using that as an example. But that kind of, you always listen to what your friends want. So if these women start attending these parties, they go out, they start talking about, you know what, I learned how I can, kind of get rid of my acne using a cannabis facial cream.
Wow.
There's uses for everything, and I think you and I know this, so.
Well, what's the commercial on TV they used to play with the hair product where it was they tell two friends and so on and so on and so on, and the picture just multiplies and multiplies of different people. It's the same concept here, isn't it? You end up talking about a product, and then you've got the comfort of the area that you're in. So you're inside a comfort zone, and then you've got a recommendation from a potential friend who's used the product in the past and said, well, this is what worked for me. Or and women always feel comfortable amongst themselves talking about these issues in the privacy of their own little group, but not when the men are around, or when there's kids around, or when there's other stuff going on. I mean, it's just we'll reserve that conversation for later when we're playing bridge or whatever. I don't know. Do people play bridge anymore? I don't think they do.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. It's just there's a lot of different topics that cannabis or different medical conditions that cannabis can play a huge positive role in, that people just not comfortable talking about it in the middle of a dispensary.
So I like the fact that you've answered a question for me, because one of the questions that I had was how do you contribute to the cannabis industry with business? And that is the answer to that question with Canna Closet. Now, were the people at Women Grow more interested in you because they saw you had an entrepreneurial stake in the business?
Yes, because I think. Are you talking about the national chapter, why they allowed me to open the chapter?
Well, yeah. Were you? I imagine there was some attractiveness. There was a reason why they wanted you to chair a section of the country, or a section of this state at least, with your own branch.
It's a funny thing, because I started on them about opening a chapter probably the beginning of last summer, actually maybe maybe spring last year. And I was like, hey, I want to start a Women Grow chapter. It's a great organization, I see, and we need that here in Michigan. And they were like, no, there's not enough people on your side of the state. We're looking at doing it in cities that have more than 300,000 people. Well, I come back and I'm like, well, if you combine Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Lansing, we have well over that. And they didn't jump on the trend. Well, I won a scholarship. I was a recipient for a scholarship for a cannabis expo in LA in September. And so I went.
Congratulations, by the way. Kudos and congratulations, because that is just an awesome statement for anybody to be able to make.
Well, what was so great about Women Grow is I got the scholarship to attend this conference for free. I had started my marketing company, because I have a marketing company as well. I had started it, but it really wasn't doing anything, and especially in a state like Michigan, where companies really don't want to market themselves.
Well, right. You don't want to stick your head above the fence and pay to do it because somebody might lob it off, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I got, and then the Michigan Normal chapter gave me help with my expenses to go to LA, and so that kind of helped me with the flight there. Also helped with lodging. And while I was there, I was like, I really want to start this chapter, and they were like, okay, we've met you, go do it. So I did it. I came back to Michigan immediately and started the Women Grow chapter, and it actually led me to my partner with Canna Closet. She, because of Women Grow, and she saw what I was doing in the industry, she reached out to me, told me about her idea, and an hour later I called her and I said, I want in on this.
Wow.
So it's opened a lot of doors for me. It really has. And I'm seeing it do the same for a lot of different people.
What an amazing introspect on the beginning of a business and how easily it can start once you start opening doors for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are you doing with Women Grow out in West Michigan right now? What do you got going on?
So we have every first Thursday of the month, and this is any Women Grow chapter in the nation. So the Ann Arbor chapter does this, the Detroit chapter will be doing this. But every first Thursday of the month, we have a signature networking event, and usually there's a lot of networking time to meet with other people who are currently working in the industry or those that are interested in getting into the industry. And then we usually have some sort of informative educational speaker. Coming up in April, we are having, it's Autism Awareness Month. So we're having
Isn't that the purple month? Isn't that the purple month, Autism Awareness?
I'm not sure if it's purple.
I saw something with purple. I thought it was autism. It might not be.
It might be. It might be. But we're having a panel to discuss that, especially here in Michigan when some people tried to get it as a qualifying condition for the medical marijuana law, and it was rejected. It didn't happen. But, if we're seeing all this research showing how effective it can be for autism. And so we really want to put that in the spotlight. And so we are going to have a panel of a doctor, just some of the really important key players in the state that are helping make moves with autism in Michigan.
It is. April is National Autism Awareness Month, and purple is the tone. I just looked it up. I just looked it up.
Well, awesome. I'll have to make sure I wear some purple.
Yeah, no, for sure. I did it for orange when you're talking about breast cancer awareness. Or is it orange? I'm sorry, pink. With Breast Cancer Awareness Month back in October. I think I was connecting orange with October because of Halloween. I had to double check myself because I'm like, wait a minute. The Hungry Howie's boxes aren't orange. They're normally kind of orange. They turn pink in the month of October. So,
yeah.
What a great thing. Did you happen to see the story that I played at the beginning of the show? Because I know you weren't listening at the beginning of the show. You were off in a business conference somewhere. But there was a story that played, and it talked about women in corporate America leaving mainstream corporate jobs to become entrepreneurs as cannabis businesswomen.
Yes.
I mean, that's an amazing statement. That's a shift in employment scheme, isn't it? As this industry is burgeoning, as it explodes with $1 billion of cannabis sales, combined medical and retail in Colorado last year, and a forecast of $44 billion to be exceeded by 2020. You can imagine the number of people who want to rush to this place, and I think what a fantastic opportunity is for people who are underserved in the employment and business market, which, in my opinion, is women and people of color.
Well, and it's also crazy because I had saw some sort of statistic from the Marijuana Business Daily showing that the people that are working in the cannabis industry, their education levels, and the education level is like bachelor's degree or higher.
Right.
A majority of the people in the industry.
Well, and it says something about the cannabis consumer in general, and it says something about popular culture and American shifts in tones in policy. and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable and what we're teaching our kids and what we're not teaching our kids. Because I think, frankly, for the past, several decades, we've been teaching our kids poison. We've been teaching our kids terrible stuff. I mean, it came from a good place. Yeah. It came from a great intentioned place. But I think the road to hell was paved with what? Good intentions.
It was.
And I think, some of that hell we're living in now with people with heroin addictions and other problems. And I'm not going to shift this drug issue policy on cannabis onto another drug, because I think ultimately they're all the same issue. These are health issues, not criminal justice ones. But as we learn this message across the country, business positions are being created, and I think it's fantastic that there's an organization that acts as a sponge to see that many of those positions are taken up by entrepreneurial women, because they're fantastic in this place, and they offer a facet, an angle that is not given by other people.
Correct. Yeah, and I think in Women Grow was that was kind of what I was needing. Like when I was looking to get into the industry, I just needed this safe place to ask questions and be able to listen to people. And that really got me a long way getting involved, because I then had a place I could go once a month and really talk to everybody and talk to them about the same struggles they're facing and how we can work together. Because one of the things that we at Women Grow say is together we have more power.
What a great statement.
And it really is, because
Jamie,
our voices are a lot louder.
I just wanted to point out we're running out of time, and I didn't want to lose opportunity to point women in West Michigan to Women Grow and how they can get involved with your organization and movement. How can they get in touch with you, Jamie?
Just go to womengrow.com. You can also email me at westmichigan@womengrow.com, and I'm the one that controls that email, and I would be happy to answer any questions and direct you to where you can get involved.
Wow. Jamie Goswick from Women Grow and from Canna Closet and many other businesses. Thanks for coming on and touching our hearts today on the program.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye-bye. What a fascinating thing. Women Grow and getting involved in business. It shows you that anybody with any spirit can get involved with cannabis business and be successful. Get involved with a group or an organization to help you right now.
You're getting the full melt.
I've seen things no man should bear, and those that every man should dare. From the beaches of Normandy to the far reaches of the earth. In my life, I have lived millions of lives. I've outrun robots and danced with dinosaurs. I've faced the faces of fear and fortitude, and witnessed great beauty in the making. I've kept the company of kings and queens, but I'm no royalty or saint. I've traveled, trekked, wandered, and roamed, only to find myself right where I belong.
Jeep. See your authorized Jeep retailer for details on how you can become a Jeep owner.
We asked people to tell us something that happened in their past and something that might happen in their future. The good things were put on yellow magnets and the bad ones on blue. The results show the past was a pretty even mix of good and bad, yet the future was almost all good things. Now that you've seen the results of this experiment, what does it mean to you?
We all want to think about positive stuff.
Realistically, there will be downtimes.
It's great to think optimistically, but let's plan for whatever the future might bring.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
RootMetrics, in the nation's largest independent study, tested wireless performance across the country. Verizon won big with 153 state wins. AT&T got 38, Sprint got 2, and T-Mobile got 0. Verizon also won first in the U.S. for data, call, speed, and reliability. AT&T got text. Stuck on an average network? Join Verizon, and we'll cover your cost to switch.
Introducing Sacred Elements, a place for natural and alternative healing for the mind, body, and soul. Sacred Elements. It's one place, all solutions.
Registered, licensed, certified, ordained.
Sacred Elements.
Massage, hypnosis, Reiki.
Sacred Elements.
Raindrop, aroma and color therapy, body detox, ministry, life coaching, weight and nutrition counseling.
Sacred Elements. Next to the Sweet Leaf, 400 South Dort Highway, Flint.
11 to 7 daily, closed Sunday.
Call 810-259-2570. Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience, bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio show.
Hey, we're back. I was texting with Jamie Goswick during the break, and she wanted me to remind you that, hey, just because it's Women Grow doesn't mean you men can't come. Women Grow is the name of the organization, but you men are certainly welcome. Yeah, welcome back to half 2 of the program. You know, you can get the Full Melt Show right here at thefullmelt.com Monday through Friday from 7 until 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We appear earlier as you go further west across the nation. So I think, what is it? It must be 5 to 6 California time. And I don't know what it is if you're in Alaska or if you're in Hawaii. We do have some listeners out there. And I think more people should be going to Alaska. I'm very jealous, extremely jelly of my friend Jenkins. Now, Jenkins, I met in person. He's been a Facebook friend of mine for quite some time, but I met him in person at that first Cannabis Cup in Denver, which incidentally our app publisher and scriptwriter, I'm not talking about show scripts, I'm not talking about content for the program, I'm talking about code. I'm talking about computer code for the app. He happens to be out in Denver right now. What am I getting a text on? Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm still getting some communication from Jamie. I was telling her, look, I've been working on this app to be released in conjunction with the Hash Bash. And she's like, oh, the Hash Bash. I'm so looking forward to the Hash Bash. It is coming up rather quickly. I need to get with Charlie Strackbine. Charlie is with BDTs and is also the guy responsible for organizing the Monroe Street Fair, which is adjacent to the Hash Bash and where most of the party happens. I mean, the political side happens on the Diag, like we said yesterday on the show, but then the party happens over there at the Monroe Street Fair, literally across the street. It's a short street. It's not very long, and the city's not planning on letting them have any more space for that or any more time. It's just really a short venue. It goes from noon, I think, until technically 6 p.m. I think noon to 6 is all you get. You get that 6 hours and you're done. But what a fantastic time it is, and it's in the spring. It's the big kind of kickoff for the cannabis community. If you're somebody involved with cannabis and you let Hash Bash go by without being there, you feel remiss the rest of the year. Because everybody else is talking about, hey, weren't you at Hash Bash? No, I didn't see you at Hash Bash. What happened to you? Why weren't you at Hash Bash? Same thing goes with Cannabis Cup. You can't miss that event. Fast becoming a routine on our tour of stuff around the state in Michigan is the thing at the end of the summer, the walk across the Mackinac Bridge. And I think that's getting bigger and better every year. We've done that, 3-4 years now in a row. And I think we're going to continue to do that. Every time I go up there, I have a fantastic time. Sometimes the weather is sketchy. I did not go last year because it was raining and I was ill and I didn't have a ride. The car was defunct. And I was just like, I'm not going up there. It's going to rain anyways. And as it turned out, it was beautiful weather for most of the time. While they were on the bridge itself, it didn't rain. But, so yeah, you men get involved with Women Grow because it's not exclusive to women. It's just fascinatingly faceted with women. And thankfully so. So, in the news today, because there was quite a bit of cannabis-related news. Yesterday, we told you about how GW Pharmaceuticals doubled its stock price, more than doubling its stock price, on the news that it passed the first phase of phase 3 clinical trials for FDA study. See, it's got to pass those phase 3 clinical trials, the phase 1, 2, and 3. It's got to go through all 3 phases before the FDA will take your application and decide whether or not it's safe and effective for the American public as general consumption, with a prescription generally. Or without a prescription, depends on how they, I guess you got to apply whether it's going to be over the counter or a food supplement or a vitamin, that kind of thing, or if it's going to be something that is a prescription drug. Because it's all got to be approved. It's all got to be given the sign off that, hey, this isn't going to hurt people, and here's the warnings that come with it. Everything's got to have a warning. This may make you drowsy. Don't drive with it. Don't operate heavy equipment. Wait this long afterwards, that kind of stuff. How about dosing? See, dosing is a different thing with cannabis. This is one of the reasons why cannabis therapy as a whole plant medicine, you can have. Okay, so there's no real overdose level of cannabis, right? There's no threshold at which you're going to keel over because you got too much. You might go to sleep. You might feel uncomfortable. It might be incredibly uncomfortable because you're so high. But it's certainly not going to hurt you. It's not going to harm you. It might bug you for a minute, but it's got no long-lasting effect. It's got no callback. It's not going to make you itch and squirm and scream for some more. It's not going to do any of that stuff. You know why? Because these are all substances that are generally produced by your body in the human endocannabinoid system. And I love the idea that somebody told me the other day, we were talking about entourage effect. And the entourage effect was coined by an Israeli doctor who was testing cannabis whole plant medicine in his lab and coined this phrase, the entourage effect, as... And if you think about the term entourage, you've got this main player and then you've got all these people that come with the main player, right? As if that was THC and all the other cannabinoids that are the entourage. But I think it coined better as an ensemble because I don't think there is a main player with cannabis. I think they're all supported by the others in a constant sort of way as an ensemble would be. So if you think about an ensemble as a symphony, if you were talking about an entourage, everything would be wrapped around a single instrument. It's not. You get the whole symphony, and the symphony can change based on hybrid, based on method of consumption. That whole symphony may alter, may change. It may be different than some other symphony that you heard out of the same music box. If you look at cannabis as the music box and the symphonies as the varieties, you've got overtures. You've got sonatas. I mean, you've got different kinds of music being played by this orchestra that makes up the symphony. And I think an ensemble describes a symphony, not an entourage. An entourage, again, is wrapped around a central character. Without the central character, the rest of it doesn't make any difference. And that's simply not the case. If you take THC, if you call that the main character, out of all of the rest of the cannabinoids, you still have a symphony. You still have an ensemble. It's just absent that instrument. The horn section's gone. If you were looking for a song that was predominantly French horns and the French horns are gone, then you're going to be left with something that is a different ensemble, but they would mean nothing if it was an entourage, because when you take the main player away, none of the others make any difference. They would all be out of tune and not playing together anymore. And that's simply not the case. They all still play together. They're just collapsed around the hole created by the absence of the French horns in this symphony arrangement analogy. And so I like the idea of an ensemble rather than an entourage. And ensemble describes it better. It says the same thing that entourage does, but it says it in a more precise way. And I like the analogy. It's an easy analogy to describe to somebody because people are familiar with instrumentation and orchestras. They're familiar with what an orchestra sounds like, and then it's made up of different instrument sections that could together conduct, with the head of the conductor, a symphony. And the symphony can make you sad. It can make you happy. It can make you joyous. It can depress you. It can lead your emotion. And I think the array of cannabinoids available to the cannabis canvas, as it were, helps you paint that musical picture. Depending on which picture you want to be in, depending on which stage you want to land in, you pick your cannabis accordingly. And I think it's all, in the food supplement and health spirit anyways. When you look at cannabis as a plant, as a therapy, as a useful component in everyday American life, because it is. Just like alcohol is. Alcohol is although it's much more demonic, I think. It's got more problems. It's certainly more problematic than cannabis is. But it's a part of everyday American culture. And people have built an industry around it which allows for blending and flavors, because alcohol by itself, if you're just drinking straight booze out of the bottle, I'd call you an alcoholic. Personal opinion. I mean, you got to really have a strong taste for booze. It's an acquired taste if you're just going to drink liquor out of a bottle, just spirits out of a bottle. It's offensive. But if you blend those spirits with other flavors and alcohols, you get this array, you get this story that's being told by the crafter of the drink. And these are nuances that aren't delved into until you get past the bathtub gin model, past the prohibitionist bathtub gin with the guy laying next to the bathtub with crosses over his eyes because he's either drunk or dead. Because the gin wasn't made. What do they make gin with? They make them with berries. What kind of berries do they make gin with? Oh, for crying out loud. I got to look it up now. I went to the mixology school years and years ago. Juniper berries. They're juniper berries that they make the gin with. That gin wasn't made, that bathtub gin wasn't made mostly with juniper berries. It was mostly made with wood. So you got wood alcohol in there, which will blind you, which is why the guy laying next to the bathtub's got the crosses over his eyes. You put regulation in there, and you rather than prohibit it and chase these people around and watch them die and empty the booze bottles, you grab a hold of that industry, you take the money away from the Al Capones of the world, and you unleash American business and get something done in a positive way where you're contributing to society and making it better and stronger as a result of your participation. That's what this movement is about. That's what Americans are discovering, and you're going to find that this show blends along with it, follows along that cause, and points out issues and things along the path as we move along it.
You're getting the full melt.
Promotional consideration provided by NoSmell.com, pioneering the storage market for cannabis users. The NoSmell patented bag technology offers users 100% smell-proof detection from even the most sophisticated of noses. NoSmell.com, so nobody knows. When placing your order for a NoSmell bag, make sure to use discount code FULLMELT and take 10% off the entire order. Learn more about NoSmell technology at NoSmell.com.
Young students are our future. They're eager to learn, eager to succeed, eager to make the world a better place. And they want to make it to school safely. Share the road, take care when passing, and always leave 3 feet between you and people on bikes. Bikes are legal road vehicles. We're all drivers.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the Allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience, bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571. 571. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
There ain't no secrets anymore.
Hey, the phone lines here are brought to you by NoSmell.com. Go find your Canalock bags at NoSmell.com and get a discount on your Canalock bag of 10% by using the code FULLMELT at the checkout. 844-420-TALK are the No Smell toll-free phone lines. I'm going to call in and object to what I got to say about cannabis in America, or you want to call in and agree with what I got to say? You want to pose a new question? You just give us a call. It won't cost you nothing. Dateline, Oakland County. This according to the freethoughtproject.com and quoting the Marijuana Patients Organization. Dateline, Oakland County. The battle over medical cannabis is heating up in Michigan, and some law enforcement figures are getting desperate to block its progress. It seems that one county sheriff has even gone so far as to threaten a lawmaker with violence. According to Eileen Kowal, a former state House representative and current Oakland County commissioner, Sheriff Michael Bouchard approached one of her peers in the locker room at the YMCA with a hand on his weapon and said, "Don't even think about proposing, sponsoring, or voting for any medical marijuana bills, and drop the ones currently in committee, or, well, you know, things can happen." Really? Mrs. Kowal said this is not the only time cops have made threats against those attempting to promise freedom and the right to effective medication. While explaining these occurrences to the Marijuana Patients Organization, she stated that my encounter with the sheriff, Michael Bouchard, was less intense but still a threat. What is happening is disgusting, and my eyes have been opened. The Free Thought Project contacted Sheriff Bouchard to request he speak on these allegations. However, our message was not immediately returned. We also reached out to Eileen Kowal and have yet to receive a response from her office as well. Medical cannabis was legalized in Michigan in 2008, which people allowed to grow the plant for themselves and others registered patients as caregivers. However, medical dispensaries have never been allowed, and the Supreme Court ruled in 2012 that they can be shut down as public nuisances. There are now about 23,000 caregivers and 96,000 patients in Michigan. Lawmakers are seeking to allow the opening of dispensaries, which would benefit patients by providing cannabis products with precise, clearly labeled doses. Edibles and products with only cannabidiol, a non-psychoactive ingredient, would also become more available. The type of bill failed last year as law enforcement voiced strong opposition, but it has a better chance this year, having already passed the House. Some cops are on board, but unsurprisingly, it comes with a hitch. They'll support the legalization of dispensaries only if the state shuts down caregivers. Cops just can't stand the idea of giving people too much freedom. Once the system is up and running, there will be no need for caregivers to grow a product since the patients will be able to access marijuana at the dispensaries, said Ingham County Sheriff Gene Wigglesworth, who testified on behalf of the Michigan Sheriff's Association. See, I don't think that it's appropriate that the Sheriff's Association be lobbying at all for or against a law that the police then have to go and enforce. They've got no business intermingling those two branches of government. The only question for the Sheriff's Department or police law enforcement in general should be can we effectively enforce the law in play, not what should be in play. This would be difficult, though, as a 3/4 supermajority vote would be needed to amend a voter-approved law. Rick Thompson, a board member of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, NORML, says this attack on caregivers by law enforcement has been a constant concern since 2011. We've never seen law enforcement agencies openly speak about destroying a core value of the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act until now. But they spoke about it so casually, it almost made it seem as if the decision has been made. Other demands being made by law enforcement are to ban home delivery of medical cannabis to patients, ban internet sales, require bonding for product transports, and allow local police and county sheriffs to inspect medical cannabis facilities. They even said that police should inspect caregivers and require licensing, raising the specter of cops barging into the homes of legitimate medical cannabis growers at will. Law enforcement also wants a system for enhanced roadside detection of cannabis, even though these tests have not proven to be reliable. Clearly, Michigan cops are in a state of anxiety about losing this front of the war on drugs. Threats of violence, like those allegedly made by Sheriff Bouchard, indicate just how desperate some cops have become as lawmakers clear the way for freedom and medical advancement. And I'll just put a side note in on that Free Thought Project article, which appeared yesterday, and quoted my friends at the Marijuana Patients Organization's story. That it's not so much legislators that are really paving the way for this at all. They're only paving the way for more money in their pockets so they can get elected next time around and do as they will do, or as the people that paid them to get into office would have them do, not the people that actually physically elected them. Because those people were chosen by the candidates themselves through a redistricting board that drew the boundaries around the candidate's turf directly around the people that already voted for that candidate or who are likely to vote for that candidate. If there's somebody in their district that might not vote for them, they will district them out, literally drawing the line of their district around that property. And that's how politicians end up picking their voters instead of voters picking their politicians. They've turned the political system on its head. And it's all been at the behest of corporate greed, money grab. Remember this, Americans. Remember this always. If you've got a question about the truth or veracity of a subject or a statement, follow the money. It will never lie to you. It will always bring you directly to the truth of the matter. And if you do what I just said regarding prohibition, you will see that the money tells you that this was never about public safety. It was never, ever about public safety. It was never about your kids. It was never about IQ points. It was never about employment in America or danger to any American citizen. This was always about the control of people and the control of money. Even if it meant that creating the black market to make the prohibition market profitable, and that money from the black market in equal proportions, if not more, flew out of our economy and across borders into other states and countries where the people that ended up with that money have no scruples, do not have a care for human life, do not have any care for human rights. They only care about making more money from the prohibition of drugs across this globe. And you've seen that in the impact in the news this week. There was a news story this week that said that, and I don't know the exact figures, but it was a phenomenal statistic, that the busting of marijuana coming across the Mexican border with the United States has fallen by a fold of 10. It's 1/10 of the amount of pot coming across the U.S. borders now from Mexico. And it's directly due to the impact of marketplaces and laws taking control of this situation rather than unleashing it to the black market and all of the dirty deeds that come with it. And I'm talking about gangs and drugs and violence of all sorts. And it's not just in other countries, it's in ours. And much of the pain that gets inflicted, much of the pain that gets associated with this horrible thing they call a solution in drug prohibition is inflicted on U.S. citizens and their families by dragging them into court and making them felons for life. That's the story behind this. That's where the money goes if you follow the money. Until tomorrow, when we have another bright day, we're going to find out tonight what's going on with Super Tuesday. Are there any people falling off the election cycle? This whole thing shapes in the presidential election as we move along, and we'll talk about the impact of Super Tuesday number 2 on tomorrow's program. We'll see you then.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.